Hey everyone, welcome back to Writing 101. Today we are going to start Unit 2. Characters. But Unit 2 is going to be split into numerous parts. And today in Lesson 1 we are going to talk about our characters. So the way I like to do it is I like to figure out who my characters are before I start plotting out the story, because the characters, let me just tell you, my writing professor in junior year of college, or was it senior year? One of those. She said, let your characters tell you the decisions that they were going to make. And at first I was like, but they're my characters. They're in my head. Why would they tell me the decisions that they are going to make? And then as time went on and I kept writing stories where the characters just did whatever I wanted to rather than doing what felt authentic, I understand now. I understand now. So I'm going to introduce you to our characters. I'm going to let you get to know them, learn a little bit about their backstory, and then next class we will come together and talk about the character dynamics and how who they are affects how they navigate their interpersonal relationships. But let's just start with our first character, Derek. Derek is the oldest son of 3 siblings. He's an orphan. He loves his family more than anything. He has an attitude of the calm before the storm. His goal is to find his little brother Ryan and to get guardianship of him. His fear is never finding his brother and losing his sister, and always living in a life of chaos. His weakness is he checks out when he's stressed. He doesn't trust himself. He won't talk about his needs. He's too agreeable. He's explosive when things go too far. And he goes along to get along, and he won't take any risk. His strengths: he's a mediator, he's a gatherer. Pretty much a gatherer means a person who is always welcoming people to events, to his home, to hang out, spend time. He always wants people to be together. He has a strong devotion to community. So if he considers you a member of his community, he will be there for you. He's very charming, and he gives great advice. He's loyal. And he is an Enneagram 9 wing 8. So I like using the Enneagram when I'm writing. This isn't the only way of doing it, because I know some people who use Myers-Briggs, and then there's people who even write using the Zodiac. So the Enneagram works for me because it helps me realize someone's desire and someone's fears. And yeah, we go from there. Next we have Lucy. She's an only daughter and an orphan. She's a visionary. She's the fixer of the restaurant, and her goal is to provide security for her family so the rug will never be pulled out from under them again. Her fear is no matter how hard she works and how fast she runs, she will never be able to get to the place where they can finally breathe in life, or things will never be good. Her weaknesses: she's always looking for problems so she can deal with them. She overthinks everything. She's scared of everything. She has a hard time connecting with people and wants to be perfect at everything to prevent problems, and she puts her goals to the side if it isn't practical. Her strengths: she's a thinker, efficient. When you get her loyalty, she's there for you always. She's reliable and witty, and she's so brave. And her Enneagram type is a 6 wing 7. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about their backstory. And I'm going to tell Derek and Lucy's backstory together so you can know who they are in relation to each other. Derek and Lucy grew up in a very happy home. Their father was a principal and their mother was a florist. Their father was kind and compassionate, and he was the person that you would call if you ever needed advice. Their mother was fun and eccentric and creative, and she kept the life and the light in the home. They had a very, very close knit family, and Derek and Lucy knew that no matter what happened, they could always go home. But then, when Derek and Lucy were in college, Derek was a junior, Lucy was a freshman. Their father and mother were driving home from a hockey tournament with their brother, and they hit some black ice and spun out of control and hit a tree. Ben and Teresa, that's their parents' name, spent multiple hours in the hospital, and the doctors did everything they could, but they couldn't save them. And unfortunately, their brother was put in the foster care system because neither of them were in the position to care for him. They were drowning in medical debt, and they still had to bury their parents. So Derek and Lucy basically had to sell everything because their parents didn't have life insurance. And they basically had to say goodbye to their whole life and because of one awful night. So Derek dropped out of school and he started doing work so he can, support his sister and build his income so he can get his brother back. Then one day he went to a bartending school and he met Faustino, who is one of the other characters, and he and Faustino became friends, and Derek found that he was really good at mixology. So for the next few years, he worked a lot of shitty jobs. He worked a lot of bad jobs. And it wasn't until Faustino reached out to him and told him about a location, a new restaurant location for a well-liked restaurant in the city was opening, and he basically got him a job as one of the bartenders at the restaurant. And then he went to the restaurant. He ended up getting a job for his sister, Lucy, who had recently graduated from college. And she started as a waitress, and then she worked her way up to being a hostess. And waitresses, they get more tips, but hostesses, they get paid a higher hourly rate than waitresses. So she liked the stable part of the job, but she still gets tips here and there, like the ones that are split amongst the house, not the ones that are given individually to waiters and waitresses. But basically, Derek at this point in his life is still trying to get that financial stability. They are solid, the two of them, but he's still trying to build himself up financially so he can get his brother. At this point in the story, he has a lawyer. He's trying to find his brother now, and his goal is to get his brother back. And Lucy is being the hostess with the mostest, and she is trying to figure out how they can maintain that stability that they have now and make it to financial freedom. All right, next up we have Nikki. Now on to Nikki. She is the only child. She has a good heart. She brings a light to every room that she enters. Her goal is to do as much good in the world, because if she wants the world to be a better place, she has to be a part of it. Her fear is that the good that she does in the world doesn't really matter. Her weakness is she doesn't say no. She doesn't compromise. She's not good at failing. She will sacrifice her needs for the sake of others. She will try to fix her problems on her own. She takes responsibility for everyone's problems, and she will internalize her issues. And she has imposter syndrome. Strengths: she's a hard worker. She has great attention to detail. She is good for goodness sake. She cares about people. She's optimistic and she's charming. And she is an Enneagram type 1, wing 2. Now on to Nikki's backstory. Nikki has two great parents, and her mother is a nurse and her father is an ALA at a airport. Then the previous year to this current action, you know what I'm trying to say. Last year, her father was diagnosed with cancer. He wasn't feeling well for a long time. He was having stomach pains. His skin started to turn jaundice, and then her mother, forced him to go to the hospital. Before he got sick, he would often spend a lot of time taking care of Nikki. He would work the early shift at the airport, so he would end up getting off early enough to get Nikki from school, help her with her homework, take her to after school activities. So she and her dad were thick as thieves. And her mom was a sorry, I thought I saw something on me. Her mom is a really good human being, just like the best human being. Incredibly kind, incredibly giving. And her mom taught her to always be good and to always be kind to people and to always live with a big heart. And her mother lived that way, so Nikki went on to live that way. And she isn't as close with her mom, and it's not because she doesn't love her. It's just her mother works a lot, especially now that her dad is sick. So Nikki does a lot of manual and emotional labor in her life. So she's still working hard in school. She is a senior and she's only 16, so she skipped a grade. And she takes care of her father on the weekends, and also she is working at the restaurant. So she works many days a week. I really want to have her work as much as possible, but also adhere to child labor laws, in real life. And their neighbor, Miss Pruitt, is helping them look after her father. So there'll be times where she gets off of work and then she goes home and relieves Miss Pruitt. She does her homework while she talks with her dad. And yeah, so she is a rock star at school. She's in student council. She does debate. She's in science club. And she has a job. And she's keeping a good grade point average and taking care of her father. And it's overwhelming for her, but she's not going to ask anyone for help. So that's Nikki. Sorry, one more thing about Nikki. She started at the restaurant. How Nikki got started at the restaurant, she got a job immediately as soon as her dad got sick because she wanted to continue contributing to the house. Her dad wasn't able to support the house, so everything got a little tighter financially. So she wanted to make sure that she'd be able to pay for things that she needed for school and to help with the electricity and the gas at the house. So yeah, so she got a job as a busser at this new restaurant, the same restaurant where Faustino and Derek and Lucy were hired on. She started as a busser, and then one day they had a really, really hectic night, and they pulled Nikki to come and help as a waitress. She was really good at it, so they started her as a waitress. She does not serve alcohol because, again, she's 16. So often the other wait staff, they fill in. If someone orders alcohol, they'll be the ones to bring it or refill and so on and so forth. But for the most part, she is a kick butt waitress. So yeah, now we can move on to James. James is a younger brother. He's a visionary. He's the aristocrat. His goal is to be an excellent opera singer and to get his parents' approval. His fears is that nothing is truly special about him. His weaknesses, he overreacts. He gets defensive. He's moody. He has a desire for other people's approval. He can be pretentious, and he's a people pleaser, and he's a lost soul. And his strengths, he's creative, he's a showman, he's a dreamer, he's accepting of people's differences, he's unique, a leader, and he loves deeply. And his Enneagram type is 4-wing-3. Now on to James. James comes from a very normal white picket fence family. His father is a lawyer, his mother is a secretary, his brother is an accountant, and his grandfather was the only person who really understood him when he was a child. His grandfather is Italian American, and he introduced him to Italian opera when he was younger, and it blew his mind. And opera is one of the things that really keeps him close to his grandfather. And his parents, they indulged all of his artistic desires when he was a kid, because in their minds they would think, okay, he's going to do it now, and then he's going to get over it, and then he's going to get a regular job like the rest of us. Well, he decides his senior year that he wants to become an opera singer, and his parents are not happy. And basically they told him that they would not be helping him with school if he pursued this field. So he worked really hard. He applied to a lot of scholarships, and it worked out to where he was enrolled in a school where he was able to have a full opera scholarship, which takes place in the city. I mean, the school is stationed in the city. You know what I'm trying to say. Well, he still has extra things that he has to pay for, like his personal items, his incidentals, all of that. So he ended up getting a job at this restaurant, this new location for this popular restaurant. He ended up wowing them with his knowledge of wines. He really just brought the charm whenever he was being hired, and they liked him. They liked his pizzazz whenever he would talk to the people. He would talk to the people at the tables and get them excited and paint a picture for them, and made the whole thing an experience. So he's really good at what he does. He'd been working at the restaurant for 2 years at this point, and his grandfather, 2 years before, around the time that he was hired at the restaurant, he passed away. And that made him double down on his dreams of becoming an opera singer. So that is James. Now on to Trey. Trey is the oldest child of 2 kids. He has a deep desire for freedom. He's whimsical. His father is a stern and serious man who the world has beaten down to where he hardly smiles. He understands that he is a black man, but his refusal to let the world determine how he shows up affects how he exists in the world. He takes a lot of that rage that he feels and turns it into defiance. He rejects expectations and exists to seek the joy. If whatever he is experiencing doesn't serve him, he will leave. His goal is to live a life that defies societal expectations, and his fear is never knowing what it means to be free. His weaknesses: he avoids his problems, he doesn't commit to things, he lacks discipline, he's overindulgent, he's indecisive, and he hates being alone with his thoughts. His strengths: he's open to everything life has to offer. He's the king of the side quest. He's the life of the party. He can fill in anywhere at the restaurant. He's open to people's differences. He's kind, inviting, stylish, and he's great at making friends. And he's an Enneagram 7-wing-6. Trey was born George Lamar III, so he goes by Trey. His grandfather was a crane operator, and his father was a mechanic in the Navy. His father is currently a bus mechanic, and he doesn't really talk much. He's very serious and is kind of the image of what many people consider the ideal black man. He's stern, responsible, takes care of his family, isn't there for the nonsense. And his father was like that, his grandfather was like that, his great grandfather was like that, and he feels the burden that they feel of presenting a certain way in this world. And he's from a small town in Alabama, and he has seen his fair share of racism and the fair share of mistreatment that his family has been through. And he decided that he didn't want any part of it. It's nothing against his family and the choices that they make. He highly respects them. But he is giving a big old bird to the world on what they expect of him. And he decided that he wanted to go to a big city and experience all that life has to offer. And if the world is going to hate him, at least he's going to be happy. So he is seeking his heart's desire. He is the king. When I say he's the king of the side quest, he has a lot of hobbies and abilities. He's always trying new things. He has had a plethora of jobs in the city. I wrote it down because it was a doozy. He was a personal assistant. He interned at a fashion house. He was a front desk at a boxing gym. He was a dog walker. And currently at the restaurant, it is his newest venture. And he likes working at the restaurant because it brings a lot of excitement. You never know what you're going to get when you go into it. He's the type of person to feel the rush between peak business hours. And he's always trying to get people excited about their meal. He is the type of waiter to remember little facts about people when they come in. So he's going to get the party started. Don't let there be a bachelorette party because he's going to get them so excited about the potential of their girl getting married. And unfortunately, with all of this light and desire to be free, he's never really paid attention to what he truly wants. Right now in his life, he's very reactive and he's chasing the next big thing, but he's not slowing down to deal with who he really is. So that's Trey. And I picked Wisdom K to be the inspiration because I love how whimsical this man is. And he's so fashionable. If you don't follow Wisdom K, do yourself a favor and go find him on every social media platform, because when I tell you, this man is so whimsical. We need more whimsical black men in film, because this man, he dresses like an anime character or a Tyler the Creator character or a man from a time machine. Just go follow him. He's amazing. Now on to Anna. Anna is the middle daughter of 3 sisters. She is the most reliable person you will ever meet. Her goal is to connect with her best friend and to train Nate to be a great server. Her fear is she will never be loved for who she is, and she will always be that nerdy girl from that small town. Her weakness is she depends on others' approval. She's territorial. She oversteps when helping. She's codependent. She doesn't know how to exist outside of being the mom of the group. She is temperamental when she feels stressed. She won't listen to others when she's stressed, and she often abandons her needs for others. Her strengths: she's kind, nurturing. She will make sure you are always fed. She's a superb baker. She cares about the good of the group. She's very smart and the person that will get it done. Her Enneagram type is 2 wing 3. Now, Anna's backstory. Anna is from a Lao community in Louisiana. She is very used to being a minority, and she's very much a victim of, was I really ugly in high school or was I just non-white? She is very, very reliable. She's a middle child, so most of the time it was her either helping her big sister, helping her parents, or being there for her little sister. That's how she fit in her family. She was the one who fixed everything. She and her best friend David have been friends since they were little. They were raised in the same Lao community. Um, they are each other's person. David is the person who ultimately convinced her to move out to the city. David went to school for marketing, and she went to culinary school to become a baker. She is an excellent baker, and she was the one who ended up finding the job at the restaurant. She was trying to get a job as a baker, but they didn't need one. But she still needed a job as she was looking around for a new baker's job. So she got hired as a waitress, and she's really good at it. And she got so good at it and got so attached to the people that she's with that she started to feel bad about wanting to have her own journey in her own life and become a baker. So she's been continuing to push that work to the side, and she's been working as a waitress at that place for many years. And she doesn't bake as much anymore, even though that was really her dream. So, yeah, she is a former baker, and now she's a full time waitress. But she loves her coworkers, so it's fine, right? Hey, editing Amina here. I forgot to mention that the muse for this creator is a young lady named Victoria Fosecchio. I will put her name below me. Um, she is so fun. She has, you can find her on Facebook and then also on Instagram. And she is so fun. She has like that quirky attitude of like a best friend that you would want to spend Friday nights with, popping a bottle of wine. So I was like, that definitely has to be Anna. That has to be her vibe. And also, we need more Lao representation because, Southeast Asians exist. South Asians exist. So, she's Southeast Asian, she's Lao. Why not bring. Okay, so next up is Nate. Nate is going to be our newest staff member at this restaurant. Nate, I basically I wanted him to be just Nate. Nate, the person that I have as a fill-in for Nate is Richard Soon. If you know, you know. Nate is an only child and adopted. He is a black cat who desperately wants to play with the orange cats. He has the goal to choose his own destiny. He's afraid of living a life that isn't his. His weaknesses are he's strong-willed, very blunt, not good at making friends, has a guarded heart, detaches himself before you can, has an ego, defensive, unwilling to compromise when he feels like he's being controlled, and will break the rules if he feels like he has a better way of doing things. His strengths: he's courageous, he has great leadership abilities, he's self-sufficient, has a strong sense of responsibility, can be really affectionate when he connects with you emotionally, he's down for an adventure, will do anything for you, and loves deeply. And his Enneagram type is an 8-wing 7. Nate is the adoptive child of he's the adoptive child of two real estate moguls in Seattle. They had trouble conceiving children of their own, so they adopted a child from Korea. They are Korean American, and they have their own business that they worked on, built it from the ground up, and they wanted to have a son to pass it on to. Well, his entire life he has been basically raised to be the future of their company. He went to private schools, he went around affluent circles, he is very intelligent, went to business school, speaks multiple languages. And then a few months before the happenings of the show, he wakes up one day and he's like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I like. I don't know what I'm passionate about. I don't know what makes me happy. And I don't want to disappoint my parents, but I feel like the walls are closing in on me and I can't do this anymore. I can't be what everyone else wants me to be when I don't even know who I am. And he was staring down the barrel of his future. I'm not going to use the word, but like the barrel of the pew pew of his future. And he was like, oh, so I'm just going to grow up. I'm going to work on this business, probably get married to someone that who's the daughter of someone that my parents know, and then we're going to have kids, and then I'm going to raise them to do the same way. I can't do this. This can't be my future. So he drains his bank account and he just leaves. He leaves everything behind. He leaves his phone, he leaves his keys, he leaves everything. He's just like, no, I can't do this. So he moves to this town and he is looking for who he wants to be in this world. So he deals with that guilt of letting go of the parents that chose him, raised him, loved him. Because his parents aren't bad people. They have expectations of him that aren't his desires. So he's dealing with that guilt, but he just wants freedom so badly. He wants to know who he is. So he goes from being like a just clean cut, no nonsense kind of man, and this is the first time he gets the opportunity to find out who he is. Yeah. Go follow Richard too. I will not be explaining more. Next is Faustino. Faustino is a second generation American, but his citizenship is very interesting because his mother was born in this country. Then she ended up taking him back to her parents' country, Guatemala, and raised him for like the first decade of his life. And then she moved him and his little cousin back to the United States, and that's where he was raised. Well, currently he's feeling a lot of anxiety of what it means to be not only an immigrant, but Latino in this country, and how uncertain things feel. So he's been doing a lot of research and work and just trying to find a way to make sure that his family is good, that his family survives these perilous times. He does a lot of reading. He's very smart. He's very insightful. He's also a bartender. So he ended up meeting Derek at their mixology training. And he ended up getting a job at the restaurant, like the big popular restaurant in the city. They had a catering crew that they would send out to big events and whatnot. And he was hired as the bartender for this crew. And he ended up meeting Rhonda, who was the manager of this crew. Well, they were opening a new location, and Rhonda was getting the opportunity to be the manager of that location. And she brought Faustino on as one of the bartenders of this new location. Well, he reached out to his friend Derek, and he was like, hey, Derek, we needed a new bartender. I know you're really good at what you do. You want to come in and come and meet them and interview for them? Well, that's how Derek ended up getting the job, because of Faustino, the friend that he met at school. Well, Faustino is also just very, very charming. A lot of them have charm, but it's a very different type of charm. He's the kind of guy that whenever the bachelorette party is in, and Trey is getting them hyped, like, yeah, our girl's getting married, Faustino. It's just like, oh, what a shame. What a shame you are being taken off the market. Your husband is a very lucky man. Like that kind of charm, like looking into the camera, into your very soul kind of charm. Like Faustino, ooh, Faustino. That man, the man you are. He is he is smart. He is very good at working the room. He's that kind of guy that knows a whole lot about everything. Like, you'll be talking about physics, and then he'll be like, oh, I read a book on this. And then he'll just start rattling off all this information, and you're like, who are you? He could be the person to go on Jeopardy and just win. That kind of person who Faustino is. So Faustino was I have Bad Bunny in here. Faustino gives like that gender fluid, artistically expressive, fashionable man. Like if you took a pretend this is a romance novel, and then Faustino would fall. Faustino, he's an only child, but he has a little cousin who lives with his mom, so that's like his little brother. He's a man from a romance novel. His goal is to secure his family's future in this country. His fear: his family will be ripped from him in the most violent way possible. Weaknesses: he's an overthinker. He's too practical. He's flighty when he becomes overwhelmed. He's in the constant search for knowledge. He's always looking for problems, quietly defiant. His strengths: he's observant, perceptive, knowledgeable about many things. He's willing to take on a new challenge for knowledge's sake. He's an expert at mixology. He's organized. He has off the chart charm in social situations, and he will take care of your needs before you notice them. And he is very attentive as a friend. And his Enneagram type is 5 wing 6. So for our representative of Rhonda, I had to go with Monica Calhoun. Because when I tell you, this woman was terrorizing me on Christmas while I was watching The Best Man Holiday. The way that I had to get up and keep taking laps every single time she was on the screen. This woman is electric. She plays that quiet dignity that is hard to explain, that no matter whatever she is faced with, carrying that quiet dignity. And that's the same thing that I want with Rhonda. Because there are going to be moments where people are going to play in Rhonda's face, and there's going to be moments wherever she's going to have to respectfully tell people to take a long walk off of a short pier. That's the best way I could say it. But yeah, Monica Calhoun is that girl. Because Lord, no one can make me cry like her. Jesus, and I kept saying, why are we watching this movie on Christmas? We're supposed to be happy today. And then I'd still be in the room and watching it, and then I'd start crying. And then I had to go for a walk, and then I'd be like, okay, and then I'd come back, and then she'd do something else, and it'd make me cry, and then I'd get up and have to take another walk. That was like an early part of my Christmas. I had a great Christmas, but Lord have mercy. Monica Calhoun, she is a mother. She is a mother. She is a woman with quiet dignity. She is beautiful. Like, come on, that is Rhonda through and through. Go watch The Best Man Holiday if you need to cry. It'll clear up your sinuses. Rhonda is a mother of 3. She was the president of every organization she was a part of in college. She's going back to school for her master's in business. Will call you out when you're wrong and will hug you when you're untethered. Her goal is she is gunning for the manager position after David retires in 2 years. Her fear: that she ruined her life by becoming a mother so early. Her weakness is she is competitive, image conscious. She has something to prove, compares herself to others. She tries to be everything to everyone. She will wipe her hands of someone if they can't get with the program, and she silently judges people. Her strengths: she's hardworking, brilliant, a great leader, cares about her employees, and she's a great mom and wife, and she's self-sufficient. And her Enneagram type is a 3-wing 2. Rhonda is an HBCU homecoming queen. Now you see her? Great. Rhonda was that girl in college. She was homecoming queen. She was class president. She was, she held offices in every organization she was a part of. She was a student ambassador. She was the poster child of her university, just excellent at what she did. Then she fell in love with her boyfriend, who was homecoming king. They went off. They got married right out of school, and then a few months later, boom, she's pregnant. She's like, ooh, I had desires for myself, but it's all good because, my husband loves me. He's great. We are going to have a good life. And, it was her desire to go back to school. Well, she ended up having a kid. And then she was like, okay, I'm just going to hold off until my kid gets a little bigger for me to go back to school. And she became a stay-at-home mom. Good thing her husband was really good to her, so their marriage continued to do well. And then she blinked, and it's 12 years later, and she has 3 kids. She still hasn't gone back to get her master's. She hasn't been in the workforce in a long time. So she wants to get back to work, but since she had such a big gap in her work history, she worked retail for a while. And then she found a job at a restaurant where she was working as a hostess. And then there was an opening at this restaurant for their catering crew. They needed a manager, and she was really good at what she did. She had worked her way up to the shift lead, and they were like, hey, we'll make you the manager of this. And she was really good at being a manager. The catering crew did really well, started raking in money. They had enough money to get another location for the restaurant. And then she became the manager of that location. And she works really hard to maintain this restaurant. And recently, her manager, David, who is the manager over the 3 branches of this restaurant, so the main location, the second location where she is, and then the catering crew, he's planning on retiring, and it's looking like there's going to be an opportunity for someone to be raised into this position. So she is currently getting her master's. She is going to school and being a manager of this, as well as being her mom. Luckily her kids are between 10 and 15. So, they're young, but they're self-sufficient, sort of. But, yes, she is a no-nonsense manager. She likes for everyone to show up and do their best, to look presentable, and to give the people a good experience. She is not above jumping in and helping. You will see her, sleeves rolled up, bussing tables, taking orders if it gets too busy. And she's someone that the people who work there want to impress. Because whenever you let down Rhonda, it's like, oh great, I'm a loser. And she doesn't even have to tell you that you're a loser. She just gives you that one look and you're like, oh great, yeah, I'm a loser. So, yes, this was a lot of things to write, a lot of things to take down, but now that you know who these characters are, next class we're going to talk about interpersonal character dynamics. So, what is this character to the other characters? What is their relationship like? I like using the Enneagram, but I know that many of you may not know what I'm talking about when it comes to the Enneagram. So I will load videos in the bio of really great creators that I like to watch. And, we'll go from there. Get to know the Enneagram. But also, if you are a fan of Myers-Briggs, go ahead and use it. This is for you. This is for you to understand. Because, if Myers-Briggs helps you understand other people, and this is what you've been studying for a long time, to where it's like, oh no, I know how I move through the world because of Myers-Briggs, then use it. If you are an astrology girly and you understand that you as a Leo sun connects with a Virgo Venus, I don't know what I'm saying. Everything I know about astrology is from osmosis. So yeah. Um, but long story short, if that's how you work, then use that. But make your characters people who are balancing the things about them as they are moving through the world. But thank you guys so much for watching. And for this week's homework, I want for you to make your characters. So if it's like a main character and then a few supporting characters, or if you have like an ensemble cast, or if you have 3 main characters, or so on and so forth. I want for you to write your characters, and I want for you to figure out what their goals, weaknesses, and their strengths, as well as their backstory. And again, honor code. If you don't have it, then that's up to you. But if you want to do it and learn more about this process and work along with me, then that's your homework. Well, I'll see you next time. Bye.